How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here, and welcome to a video talking about the Samsung Galaxy S21, or as some people might like to call it, the Samsung Galaxy S30. This phone is rumored to come out early next year. In fact, January of 2021 is what we're hearing about the smartphone, and we think because of this, the smartphone cycle sort of has this 3 smartphone release trend now. So we have a smartphone every 4 months, which is just getting out of hand. But without any further ado, let's get into who has leaked the smartphone. It's none other than OnLeaks, who is pretty much the veteran when it comes to leaking smartphones and devices way in advance, and most of the time he is absolutely spot on. So if you're not already following him, make sure you follow him over on Twitter, and I'm basically gonna go off what he says. I'm gonna talk about the design of the S21 because I think that's a major talking point here, as you can see on screen right there. The front is relatively unchanged, but the back definitely shows a form of change. I'm gonna go over to the website where he's leaked this, and he says this is the Galaxy S21. He's leaked it on a weekend for everyone to enjoy this leak. Now, from the look of it, the Galaxy S21 looks a bit weird because the camera module is sort of off to the side, but very off to the edges of the smartphone, which is something we haven't seen in the past. The camera module itself looks very similar to the Galaxy S20 FE series. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but the 3 cameras right there, but in this case it's all off to the edge, and there seems to be a metallic sort of cover underneath the cameras with the flash off to the right hand side from the perspective that I'm viewing it, and the back seems to be a plastic/glastick finish. Now, I'm not really a fan of the Galaxy S20 FE finish. It doesn't feel as premium as a glass back, so that's something I'm definitely going to be talking about in my review, so make sure you stay tuned for that over on GN Tech. That's where the review is going to be. Check them out using the link down in the description or using the card that you see on screen at the moment. But the Galaxy S21, from the front, it doesn't look that changed. I mean, the flat panel is something that's new, and people are sort of portraying that to be the difference. Well, the Galaxy S20 series actually bought you flat display, so I don't see a major difference here. As far as the overall screen to body ratio goes, it seems to be a bit higher, so maybe a bit more, so you get more of the screen. And according to OnLeaks, this is a 6.2-inch panel on the Galaxy S21, and the camera bump also seems a bit smaller. Now, we don't know anything about the specifications of the cameras, the front or the back, but we do know about this design, and a little bit of a closer look actually shows a gap that's present between the camera hinge or flap that's made of metal as well as the back of the phone. Now, that to me screams like a place where a lot of dust can accumulate, and I don't know what Samsung is thinking of here. I don't really know what Samsung is really going for with this design. Let me zoom in a bit so you guys can see just what I'm talking about. Bear with me. There you go. There's that gap. Now, it might look like a gap in the picture, and in real life it might not be a gap at all, but it is something to definitely grow on. It's not something that you can accept directly. You can see that it's got pretty much your standard port selection, no 3.5mm headphone jack, no extra button off to the left for Bixby, so that's always a good sign. The camera bump also looks a bit sharper towards the edges, and I don't know how that's going to feel in the hand or in the pocket. You got the power button, you got the volume rocker, and the back of the phone, it just doesn't look that inspired. I talked about this in my Galaxy S20 series video that I made a couple of months ago, where the back just seemed very plain with the gray finish. I like colored backs, and maybe if Samsung can bring out, you know, the Mystic Bronze on the Note 20 Ultra was absolutely spot on. They could do with that on the S20 series. It doesn't look like there's any room for the S Pen. That's another rumor that we were talking about. The Galaxy S20 series might, S21 series might bring the S Pen to the S series as well, but maybe that's reserved only for the Ultra. This is the S21 vanilla. We don't know anything about the Pro. We don't know anything about the Plus. We don't know anything about the Ultra. So that's pretty much everything that the rumor covers. This is another leak of the phone, sort of in this portrait form factor. I really like the screen to body ratio of the display. Nothing really about the specifications inside. We know Samsung is working on a powerful Exynos chipset for the smartphone that's coming out, but of course that will come out as we get closer and closer to the launch of the phone. We also know about the dimensions roughly of the S21. It's a 51 millimeter tall phone with a 7.9 millimeter thickness, which is a nice thickness, but if you add that camera bump into the thickness, it becomes 9 millimeters. So maybe Samsung's going for this metallic hinge sort of thing to cover up for the camera bump, because if you have it sort of like this and if you place that on a table, it wobbles around. Maybe with this sort of mechanism at the back, it doesn't really wobble around, or this just might be an aesthetic cue from Samsung to change up how the phone looks. And to be honest, from first glance, it's definitely a change from the previous generation phone. We don't know how the Ultra is going to look, how they're going to cram in all of those cameras and that space zoom, etc. onto a module like that. Perhaps they could have an even bigger module, and if they start to do modules like this, maybe one day it could be a module that stretches all the way through the top, with the top housing basically a DSLR camera. I don't really know, but people are buying smartphones these days for the cameras, and maybe Samsung is sort of starting off the trend to gauge the interest that we have from consumers and then act on it accordingly. So yeah, that's about it for this video. We can expect the Galaxy S21 series to come out in January, which is 1 month in advance compared to what we've seen over the years, and it'll introduce a Galaxy S21, S21 Plus, and the S21 Ultra, or the S30, S30 Plus, and the S30 Ultra. I think they're gonna stick with the name scheme I mentioned before because they want to go according to the year, and going according to the year just makes sense and is more natural. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this smartphone down in the comments. To me, it's definitely a phone that will grow as I use it and see it more. I don't really like it at the moment, but maybe I'll start to like it once I get it in my hand, or once we start to see actual real pictures of the smartphone, which we haven't seen yet. That was the case with the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra in my case. So thanks for watching. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.